Let's settle for the details now, because the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana is lamenting the adverse effect of the current economic crisis on their operations. To be able to stay in business, the association is calling for an interim NHIS tariff dispensation and immediate reimbursement of outstanding claims to avert imminent shortage of medical commodities and the possible collapse of healthcare facilities in the country. In a press statement released after an annual general meeting held in Takoradi last week, the association cites the rising inflation, high fuel cost, and exchange rate depreciation as the reason for the astronomical increase in cost of health commodities and other inputs for quality healthcare delivery. They have been making quite a number of demands as well. Abulasiara Haruna is the Public Relations Officer of the ASERG, and he joins us live with more on their demands. Good morning, sir, and many thanks for your time. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for your time. If you can hear me, Mr. Haruna, good morning. Thank you so much for your time. We're working on getting Mr. Haruna on that story. As and when we can, we will bring him in for the conversation. Now let's do other stories, because in a related development, American Ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, is urging the National Health Insurance Authority and the government to reimburse claims made by the Upper West Regional Medical Stores to enable it function effectively. She noted that once the claims are paid, it will enable the medical stores pay its suppliers and function effectively. Virginia Palmer made the statement during a day's tour of the Upper West Region. JoyNews Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
The American ambassador to Ghana, Virginia E. Palmer, stated that the northern Gulf of Ghana, for that matter, the entire country, matters a lot to the United States of America, and thus explain why she embarked on the tour of the Upper West Region. She said the American government is particularly concerned about security in Ghana following the surge in violent extremism in neighboring Burkina Faso.
Security in Burkina Faso has made everybody more concerned about violent extremism there. And so I have long admired the government of Ghana's approach and the government of Ghana's recognition that inclusive economic growth and prosperity in the north and social cohesion is an important weapon against violent extremism. So I came to see how the United States might be helpful, and I met the regional minister and the regional security council, which was fascinating, and I appreciated being able to talk to all the people that keep all of us safe, Ghanaians and foreigners like me who live in Ghana, so the police and the fire service and the Ghanaian armed forces.
Virginia Palmer also took a tour of the regional medical stores to ascertain how key interventions relating to the supply chain systems are working, given the partnership and support the government of Ghana received from U.S. aid in many respects. The regional medical stores serves as a center for the storage and efficient distribution of medicine and non-medicine logistics and equipment to all health facilities across the region to enhance the delivery of quality health services to the people. This is done through the receipt of various items from the national level and sometimes and regional level procurements to stock the stores for distribution to facilities. The Upper West region has 306 health facilities comprising an ultra-modern regional hospital, 9 district hospitals, 4 polyclinics, 72 health centers, and over 200 CHIPS compounds. Delay in reimbursing claims from the National Health Insurance Authority, according to Virginia Palmer, is a key challenge they are facing.
Well, this facility is beautifully run, as you can tell, and we support the facility with some COVID kind of system strengthening things like refrigerators and freezers and the vaccines themselves, but also basic drugs for malaria, TB, HIV, and then basic medicines. So I think the biggest challenge I understand is the payment of arrears, which are the payment lag is larger in areas that are far away from Accra. So it's very important that the government and the national health insurance system pay the bills so that the stores like this one can pay the suppliers and continue to keep those basic medicines available.
The U.S. ambassador then opened up on other projects embarked on by a country.
With the new commitment to this area, we did just announce a new $35 million program, the RING program, about 10 days ago, and that will have to do with agricultural programming here, making sure people can get access to fertilizer and new agricultural techniques. And then last year we announced a $45 million water, health, and sanitation program for the North. So a lot of that will come to Upper West.
Accompanying the U.S. ambassador on the tour was the Deputy German ambassador, Sebidi Jansen, who spoke of the commitment of 82 million euros by the German government to better the lives of the people.
We had government negotiations last week in Berlin on German-Ghanaian Development Cooperation, where the German government pledged 82 million euros to support the Ghanaian people to live better lives. We are very active when it comes to border management, stability mechanisms in borders, demarcation work, and also police training and many other areas. We do have a lot of women training programs. For example, women that would like to start their own business. We coach them, we help them to be prepared to do this. Here, actually in VAR, we have a cashew farm that is women-led, that was built with German support. Only 2 weeks ago, Ghana launched the 51st chapter of the African Women Leaders Network, which since the beginning has been supported by the German government.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
Let's go back to our earlier story where the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana is lamenting the adverse effects of the current economic crisis on their operations to be able to stay in business. The association is calling for an interim NHIS tariff dispensation and immediate reimbursement of outstanding claims to avert imminent shortage of medical commodities and the possible collapse of healthcare facilities in the country. Now, in a press statement released after an annual general meeting held in Takoradi last week, the association cites that rising inflation, high fuel cost and exchange rate depreciation as the reason for the astronomical increase in cost of health commodities and other imports for quality healthcare delivery. Now, they've been making quite a number of demands. So joining me for this conversation is Abulai Yaro Haruna, who's the Public Relations Officer of the Association of Health Service Administrations Ghana. Good morning, sir, and many thanks for your time.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to your viewers.
Now, can you give us more insight regarding the change in the cost of health service delivery from then and now, for which you are demanding an immediate disbursement of NHIS claims?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. In recent times, the health sector, particularly managers of health institutions, have been faced with very astronomical increase in prices of particularly medicines and non-medicine consumables, And it has also been exacerbated by the fact that because of the situation in the country, most of our private suppliers who supply these medicines and non-medicine consumables to us also find it difficult to be able to give us credit facilities. So they usually will demand for payment on delivery for these medicines and non-medicine consumables. And because we've also not been reimbursed regularly by the NHIA for services that we've rendered to their clients, it becomes very difficult for us to be able to meet the demands of the suppliers of our medicines or non-medicine consumables so that we keep hospitals running at optimum. So it's really a difficult situation for managers of healthcare institutions at the moment.
But how much on average are the members of the association owed by the NHIA?
I think as we speak, although it may vary depending on facility by facility, I know some facilities have been reimbursed up to March 2022. Others have also been reimbursed up to February 2022. I am not aware of any facility that has been reimbursed from April up to date. So you can do the math yourself and you will know the number of months in arrears.
And how has the claiming process been for members? What's the current situation? Any update on this?
I didn't get that agree.
So how has the claiming process been for members, and what's the current situation?
The claiming process?
Yes. For the funds?
The submission of claims to NHIA?
Yeah.
Or in terms of claims submission, with the introduction of the online system of submitting claims to NHIA, that is the Claimit, that has actually improved the speed at which we submit our claims. Unlike previously, whereby we submit claims manually to the CPC, that is the Claims Processing Center. Now we do it online through the Claimit software that the NHIA has deployed. So at the end of the month, within a couple of days, maximum 2 weeks, we are able to submit our claims for the previous month in the ensuing month.
Okay, and how does this affect your operations?
How does the submission of claims?
Yeah,
want to know how the non-reimbursement is affecting
it's affecting your operations, yeah.
Yes, very well. That is what I just made in my earlier submission. Because we are not reimbursed regularly, it's difficult for us to be able to get our consumables. And these consumables are the inputs that we need to be able to render service to our clients who visit our facilities. You can talk of medicines, gloves, gauze, cotton wool, and all the basic inputs that is used in rendering service to you when you visit any health care facility in Ghana. So we need to get all these things to be able to run our facilities. And because we are not reimbursed regularly, and the suppliers also demand for payment on delivery, because they also cite the situation whereby, because of the current situation that we have, it's difficult for them to be able to offer us credit facilities. So most health institutions now, if you actually speak with them, you will realize that on a daily basis, what we do is some kind of firefighting to be able to remain in operation. No matter how proactive you are, it's difficult.
But now, you are service providers. How do you make sure that the quality of service delivered is not compromised? We understand you have the challenge, but you need to make sure that you deliver the service.
Yes, so that is why we did indicate in our communique, that the situation is having a negative impact on the service delivery in our healthcare institutions. And we have made some proposals, which when the NHIA takes on board, we think that in the interim, if we have some kind of allowance for the tariffs, and the other challenge also has to do with how these tariffs have not been reviewed regularly. Because you find a situation whereby you expect that once economic indicators are varying, then the tariffs should also be varied to be commensurate with the indicators. But unfortunately, that is not the situation that we find ourselves. So if the NHI is able to put all these recommendations in place, we think that it can bring about some improvement in the claims reimbursement situation.
Mr. Haruna, thank you so much for your time. And that is Abulai Yara Haruna, who's the PRO for the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana. And you're still watching Joy News Desk. Let's head to our election quarters now. He is one of the sharp and loudest communicators of the opposition NDC. And after years of leading the party's Ashanti Regional Youth Wing, Burga Jimfi says it is time for him to take over the youth wing at national level. He says he is the party's best bet to build a resilient youth wing that can help the NDC wrestle power from the NPP. Ahead of that crucial National Delegates Conference, Kwekwa Santio of our political desk shines the light on Burga Jimfi, who is seeking to oust incumbent George Opari Addo.
One of the contests analysts have said will be keenly and fiercely contested. The fight for NDC's National Youth Wing top job is coming down between Broja Jemfi and incumbent George Opari Addo. Broja Jemfi says he has what it takes to lead the NDC youth to help return to power in 2024.
We have presented a very timid youth front, which is not good for us as an opposition party. The posture is not what Ghanaians want to see. Very weak. We need to change that face.
A part of his activities in the limelight has been leading demonstrations, which has cast him in a battle with the police on several occasions.
The police has acted in bad faith from the beginning of our engagement with them. And we think that what happened yesterday was predetermined. And if you see the actions of the police, it was very clear that they didn't want the demonstration to happen.
Broja Jemfi says the topmost agenda is to build a resilient youth wing for the NDC.
And if you check me, 5-point agenda for 10. One of it is to build a credible national database for the party in terms of tertiary students are Omoye NDC for. In doing that, we must develop a single national ID card for every 10 member. To say party, say ufa party card, obi ole jokuku. Now they compare obi o China paga. Just by removing the card, obi abon say we NDC card. When we do that, you bet me synchronizing. Now every party member, including 10 members, be introduced once.
He alleges a ploy to remove from the party's delegates list loyalists of his who are 10 executives.
I will not do anything that will affect the image of the party. But say 10 for Antoine, national youth election, Embassy must have a database. The party must have a database.
He has already gotten support from some party bigwigs, including MPs, and will be counting on them when the delegates go to the polls. For JoyNews, Kweku Asante.
Now, the Ashanti Regional Security Council is expected to take a decision on calming a simmering tension between nomadic herdsmen and farmers in the Ejura Sechi-Dumase municipality this Friday. Now, it comes as the Ejura Traditional Council bans movement of nomadic herdsmen into communities within Ejura. Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah has called for calm as measures are taken to find a lasting solution to the problem. There's more in this report.
The Ejura Traditional Council has taken a decision to flush out nomadic herdsmen and their cattle in communities within the area. This was after farmers and inhabitants accused the herdsmen of being behind recent robbery attacks, including the killing of a police constable and destruction of farms in recent times. Leadership of the Fulani community has cautioned plans by the security agencies to stop the movement of cattle approaching the limits of Ejura threatens security of farms, but the traditional authority is unwilling to soften its stance. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah believes the nomadic herdsmen will have to find means of restricting their cattle from destroying farms as efforts are made to address the situation. He says the Security Council will be guided by lessons from similar incidents at Agogo in the Asante Achem North district.
If I plant my maize, I don't think the maize can move. The element that moves is the cattle. So if I go to sleep and the next day I come back and cattle has consumed all my crops, the person I have to blame is that is the cattle owners. We should find a better balance between the rearing of the cattle and the crop farming. When we meet, we take this decision on that. All that we've informed the chief of the board of a driver. They should exercise some patience and some restraint, and we going forward, we find a solution to the problem.
The minister spoke on the sidelines of an event to inaugurate the board of the Peace Council in the Ashanti region. 13 members, including 6 retained board members, were inaugurated. Board member of the National Peace Council, Nana Ejakoma Diffie II, urged the regional members to discharge their duties effectively.
Our core value should be measured by fostering friendship, promoting trust, tolerance, goodwill, and community recognition. I will call on the incoming members of the Regional Peace Council to buckle up because the task ahead is critical for the development of our society and will require your full commitment, sacrifice, and dedication.
Chairman of the Ashanti Regional Peace Council, Reverend Ben Nuhu Abubakar, says the board is poised to play its role efficiently.
I've been a member for the past 4 years. We had a lot of conflicts. We have chieftaincy disputes in this region, a lot of chieftaincy disputes. We have youth agitations. The galamsey is very rife in this area. We can handle any of them and bring about peace.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Still in the Ashanti region, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has launched the second annual report on road safety alongside measures to curb road traffic deaths. Now, the report includes vital technical strategies and essential data from police crash records, which indicates that pedestrian knockdowns account for 76% of road fatalities in Kumasi. Nanaya Obwache Dankwa has more in this report.
The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly report on road safety is in collaboration with the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety. The report indicates about 76% of road traffic deaths in Kumasi were pedestrian knockdowns. The pedestrian fatalities were mostly caused by pickups, buses and minibuses. A representative of the Kumasi mayor, Kojo Akuyamo Boateng, indicated the crystal-fallen feeling that comes anytime the record of traffic death rises. He cited the year 2021 as the beginning of a new decade of action for road safety.
There is a phone call or a knock on the door that we all dread, one in which we are told that a loved one has been killed or seriously injured in a traffic crash. We shiver as emergency vehicles speed past us on the road to attend to crash situations. Our hearts miss a beat as we hear stories of road crashes on the news.
Regional Technical Advisor of Africa Road Injury, Raphael Ewa, also observed the consistent increase in road traffic death in Kumasi since 2016.
First is that the findings have shown that there's a consistent increase in the number of reported deaths in Kumasi since 2017. It's been on a very consistent increase, and so that's why we should be concerned. And as noted during the program, many of these deaths go unreported. So to see that for the reported death, we see a consistent decline since 2017, it's a worrying trend.
Kinsley Rekon, Road Safety Coordinator at KMA, says findings of the report will guide strategies to attain a significant reduction in road fatalities.
Agency stakeholders who are in the jurisdiction of that area or corridors, you have to inform intervention based on the findings for the report. For example, we've noticed that 6 out of 10 pedestrians crashes are caused by pedestrian fatalities. So with this, what are we going to do? The corridors notice, for example, PB bypass, what are they doing there? Maybe there are technical areas they can look at. It can be engineering, it can be enforcement, it can be other activities. Yes, so all what this road safety report is telling us, what we have to do, and anything which we can do to limit fatalities and serious injuries.
Nana Boachi Dankwa reporting for JoyNews.
Let's come back to Accra, but with barely 3 weeks to Christmas, one would expect that sales of clothes or fashion apparel will boom in the marketplace. However, vendors of fashion apparel are lamenting the slow turn out of sales. Anna Amwan Kitsia and Semafa Rejoice went to Kantamanto Market to engage with traders, and they now report.
Kantamanto is one of the biggest market centers in the country, where one can afford both retail and wholesale clothes at a cheaper price. It is therefore not surprising that people travel far and near for shopping in the market. But something has changed in recent years. Traders in the business say Kantamanto is no more the Donkumi market we know. They lament the high prices of fashion apparel and slow sales and blame it on various contributory factors. They say the cedi depreciation and its performance against the dollar and other major trading currencies has affected sales this festive season.
Prices of things have changed. Things we used to pay less for, we pay more now. The rise of the dollar and other trading currencies has affected the prices.
Last year by this time, market now biji, but say
Some say the preference for online shopping has in some way affected their clothing businesses because they don't do delivery and online advertisement.
Market now almost say last year this year. Last year no, oba krom na oton ade kakra bi mpo because of said obesi atodora nti na onim se bia eye.
We've been working with online vendors. People who work in offices do not have the luxury of time to walk in and purchase clothes unless the online vendors advertise and deliver the clothes to them. This has reduced the number of people who walk in to buy.
It is no news that the cost of fuel has affected everything in the country, and the clothing business is not left out. The vendors assert the high cost of fuel is having adverse effects on the prices and sale of clothes. They claim the people are not buying due to the high prices.
Although the cost of fuel has been reduced, transportation remains the same.
Meanwhile, some customers say they prefer to buy clothes at wholesale prices at Kantamanto and in turn sell them online and deliver them to people who cannot travel to get these clothes.
I do online business and I see that to be faster and easier for me. And moreover, it's convenient for those of us who don't have time. That means we can do the marketing online anytime, anywhere we are. So that's why I prefer the online business.
I won't post this for 50 cedis, the price at which I bought it here, but rather 80 cedis because the cost of transportation is high.
But let's not forget that e-commerce in the fashion industry comes with this snag. Having heard of what I ordered versus what I got, this is subject for another day.
Personnel of 54 metropolitan and municipal district assemblies across the country have received training on e-waste management as part of efforts by government to reduce the impact of e-waste destruction in the country. Now, the training on improving the safe disposal of electronic waste was facilitated by GIZ in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. There's more in this report by Isaac Ko and Lois Tay.
You ever wondered what happens to that old electronic appliance that is sold to scrap dealers? Are you aware of the environmental destruction that such waste causes? Well, many Ghanaians are oblivious to electronic waste management, although it is generated in many homes and industries. In a bid to improve the safety disposal of electronic waste, GIZ, in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, embarked on a program to formalize and regulate the scrap dealing business through the training of some 54 metropolitan and municipal district assemblies across the country. Executive Chairman of Mountain Research, Dr. Samson Atiemo, said the program has for the past 1.5 years been training MMDAs as well as environmental protection officers to properly manage electronic waste.
When we talk about e-waste, we are referring to every electronic appliance that has come to its end of life. So for the past 1.5 years, with the support of GIZ e-waste program, support from Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, we have been training these assemblies. In fact, so far, we have covered 54 assemblies across the country, and we train environmental health officers, we train fiscal planning, development planning officers. So we have 4 officers from each assembly that we take them through detailed 4 days training program for them to understand the nuances of e-waste management, the issues of risk, the issues of value, issues of disposal of these end-of-life appliances.
Head of Research, Planning, Managing and Evaluation for the e-waste fund, Gerald Idujemfi, said that although no funds have been released for the project, it will soon start financial capacity building for MMDAs, which will feed into the initiative of GIZ.
Okay, so
within this particular project, none at the moment, because we've not actually started disbursing. And like I said earlier on, we are funding activities. So the MMDAs, everybody within the value chain has to perform a certain activity that the e-waste fund will come in to support by way of making payments for those activities. Currently, the fund is also supposed to do some education within the space. So for MMDAs, all the value chain actors, we will be doing some capacity building and training for them that the fund is mandated to do.
Some scrap dealers who spoke to JoyNews shared their views on the implementation of the e-waste program.
Oh, that one is good for us. You know, we are here, we are working. Sometimes people are wounding themselves unless they send it to Kwalegu. You see, so if you are here, want to help us, it's good for us. You understand?
Yes, like I want something like that, but let's say that some long time ago, we were still at seconds, and sometimes come where they say, oh, they want all of us to come out for that place. So we just go inside. If you go to Barrier, we go buy a fridge. How much we can buy it? It's not that way. If you come to seconds, we can get it. So we mean that this place where we want help.
The implementation of the program is expected to reduce the impact of e-waste destruction in the environment. Isaac Amwesi Akon and Lois Day's report read to you.
You're still watching JoyNews Desk. Up next is business.
Hi, welcome to business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The Ghana Mine Workers Union has threatened to resist any attempt by government to touch even a pesewa of its members' pension funds as a result of the debt exchange program. This, the union says, is in solidarity with the Trades Union Congress kicking against the program announced recently by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. General Secretary Abdul Mumin Bana spoke at a National Executive Council meeting and forum organized in Accra.
Government announced the debt exchange program recently, which is supposed to cut bond interest with 0% coupon rate in 2023. The move is said to be a requirement for an economic recovery program from the International Monetary Fund. But speaking at the Mine Workers Union National Executive Council meeting and forum organized in Accra, Abdul Mumin Bana, on Awakening Workers' Consciousness, said the union would not support the program and it will resist any attempt by government to cut down on members' pension funds.
Government cannot impose terms and conditions unilaterally on bondholders, whether it has to do with pension funds or individual investment funds. And so it's important that government consults broadly, particularly a key stakeholder like organized labor ought to be consulted. Quite unfortunately, government did not consult organized labor and decided to roll out, its debt exchange program. And so what we are saying is that any attempt to restructure government's debt that will have implications on our pensions is untenable. It's not something that we're going to accept. And for that matter, government must restructure its debt, wary of the fact that pension funds of workers cannot be part of the debt restructuring program.
But Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Joshua Ansah, is calling for the immediate review of the labor law, which is currently under consideration to put a stop to indecent work practices in the mining sector.
The review of the labor law, my brother, I didn't mention it because it is hanging somewhere. And wherever it's hanging, I can assure you, you will block it down. You will block it down because you have any excuses. The excuses are many. As I speak to you, our inputs were collated. A meeting was held with the consultant. We have put the pieces together. And the Minister for Labour is telling us that the labor review is now at the AG's department. Wherever it is locked up at the AG's department, we will make sure it is plugged now to us. so that the indecency in employment will stop, especially in the mining sector.
For his part, General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, Kwesi Pratt, shared some imperatives on the new trade union movement.
The Mine Workers Union has a huge potential to play a leading role in building this new kind of trade union movement. And I asked this meeting to examine a few things. One, the impact of Galamsey on national life and how to deal with it. Two, what ought to be done for the people of Ghana to control and exploit their own natural resources for their own benefits. Existing labor laws and how they inhibit the exercise of the rights of workers. The imperative of workers' solidarity and how to promote it.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Ghana Mines Workers Union, Mesa Jakari, has threatened an industrial action by the union if mining companies do not desist from the practice of fixed-term contracts for its members.
Now, government statistician Samuel Kobnenim has said that the newly inaugurated National Statistical Advisory Committee is expected to establish an effective national statistical system and advance the integration of both experimental and official statistics with practice, policy and research. Here's more.
National Statistical Advisory Committee is a statutory committee established per the Statistical Service Act 2019, Act 1003. The committee comprises key producers and users of statistics in the various government institutions. Speaking at the inaugural ceremony, Professor Samuel Kobnenim said the committee must strengthen the production of harmonized and quality statistics and facilitates the coordination of statistical activities within the national statistical system.
So what a national statistical system is supposed to do, among others, are harmonizing the statistics that we produce across these different government ministries, departments and agencies, and more importantly, ensure how these statistics feed into national policy. So today we've honed in the fact that Ghana currently is in a situation where data production has met certain standards, and what this National Statistics Advisory Committee is expected to do is to try and centralize all these statistics that are currently available, that are being produced in different ways. All the government ministries, departments and agencies, by the course of their day-to-day activities, produce administrative data which can serve the purpose of the statistics that we need for development. So the first thing they need to do is to centralize the statistics that we are producing as a country from a number of perspectives: how it is collected, how it is analyzed, how it is stored, and the second part is how these statistics feed into our national policies that we have in the country.
The chairperson of the committee, Patricia Edise-Poku, added that there's the need to collect accurate data for easy understanding by consumers.
We need to build trust amongst ourselves and amongst the people that we serve by simplifying information that is available for them to consume in their private sector businesses and in their daily lives. And what we have heard this morning is very clear that if we don't collect accurate quality data, we won't be able to achieve any of that. We won't be able to build trust. We won't be able to inform the public.
Following the inauguration, the committee held its maiden meeting to deliberate on its organizational structure to operationalize its activities.
That's business. Sports is coming up next to stay tuned.
It's now time for sports, and Mr. Quayne joins me. This is the first time we're doing this together.
Yeah, first time we're not set together.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's a Friday. Are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, the World Cup is still on.
Yeah.
Going to the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, there's some good action coming on. There's some good action we can look forward to starting today. Netherlands playing off Argentina and Croatia taking on Brazil. And Netherlands, Argentina, I mean, when you look at the history between Netherlands and Argentina, you might think at the moment because of Messi, Argentina will have that edge. But historically, Netherlands have had that slight edge over the Argentines in football, and they'll be looking to carry that sort of, history and that sort of track record into this crucial encounter. But for Argentina, it's the last dance for Lionel Messi. Probably this is going to be his final World Cup. And as Scolani, their coach, and other members of the team like De Paul and Otamendi and Di Maria have stated categorically, they want to play this World Cup and win it for Lionel Messi. So it's not just, putting the World Cup aside, there's a lot on the line for both these sides, because the Netherlands have also been so close on too many occasions when they have failed to win it. On about 3 occasions where they will go to the final, semi-final, and they lost it, even with very good squads like Van Persie, Sneijder, and all those big names, but they're still unable to win it. And they're coming to this team, into this World Cup with a team which is not on the level of those big names, but they are still doing well. People have criticized the way they have played, but Depay comes out to defend his coach Van Gaal, and he says that, I mean, you guys can criticize her, but the way he's setting us up is not making us concede, and you're winning games. And in football, ultimately, what you have to do is to win games. So, irrespective of how you're playing, when in 5 years' time and 10 years when we are looking back, we don't ask how did they play, we ask what did they do and what did they achieve.
What did they achieve? So
if we are achieving the way we are playing, no matter how we see it, if we are winning, we don't care, we don't mind. But for Brazil, they will care about the way they play. They also care about also winning alongside, because we know Brazil and their samba style and how they like to express themselves with football. Football has changed a bit, not a bit, has changed a lot, because at the start of football, it's about how to express yourselves, and that's why I could have people like Ronaldinho and Rivaldo and Ronaldo on the same page. But at the moment, having those names on the same field would be a bit difficult, because coaches are now looking to that tactical aspect. What are you doing in defense? What are you doing with the ball? What are you doing off the ball? And that kind of thing. So it's a bit difficult. But for the Brazilians, they are still trying to, have that same idea of football, of expressing themselves, and yet still getting the results. And that is why, even though people are criticizing them of dancing and disrespecting their opposition, after scoring, their head coach teacher will come out and say, come on, you don't understand our culture, you don't understand where we are coming from as a people. It's part of our identity, it's part of our tradition. Right. I mean, you can criticize, but we'll still keep on doing what we are doing.
Of course.
And even if we come out, even if we are knocked out, and when we come back to the world stage again, we are going to do what we do again. Because, I mean, the records speak for them. They've won it more times than anybody. They scored the most goals in the tournament.
What is that record?
They won 5 times. Five times. They're also the only team who have been to every single World Cup since starting in 1930.
Hey, wow. Okay, so then it's... Oh, wow. I mean, okay. Then
when you speak about the World Cup, you talk about Brazil. Because Pelé won it 3 times. The only person to do that, scored the World Cup finals, youngest goal scorer, until Mbappe also came to join the list. So, I mean, going into this game against Croatia, you might want to... They have everything to go on for them. But Croatia cannot be written off.
But wait, sorry. Has Croatia won?
They haven't won, but they are in the final element of what their golden generation has to do for the country. I mean, 4 years ago, they surprised and stunned everyone when they made the final. Lost to the French team, who were brilliant that year. They had guys like Pogba and Kante doing their thing in the midfield, and Mbappe was going crazy on the wing to Griezmann, and Giroud, who didn't score but had a okay tournament. And now let's forget about France. Let's just still focus on Croatia. But so the Croatians, it's a case not just to do well, but to also make the world know that, oh, if you thought 4 years ago was a fluke, hey, look at us, we are back now. And with Modric, who's 36, 35, thereabout, and playing, definitely is also probably his last work. I can't tell for Modric. I mean, he also wants to put up a case. And also the Croatians they just don't have that golden generation, because someone like Mandzukic retired and left the team after 2014. But they also have some young guys come in like Gavadol and guys who also want to, make a claim and continue that trend that Croatians and start of themselves on the world stage. So we have some very good games coming up.
Okay,
today.
so what about Argentina? How many times?
So Argentina they won it just twice.
They won it twice,
Maradona did it for them, and that is why now they're looking for Messi. They're like, if you want to destroy Maradona as the greatest Argentine to play football, you have to win the World Cup. Copa America is not enough.
Okay, and then Netherlands...
they've never won it before, but they've been to the final about 2 or 3 times.
It's about winning. Tell me about it's about winning. Okay, so Brazil has won it 5 times.
Yep.
Croatia 0, Argentina twice, and then Netherlands 0.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a really interesting one because I'm thinking and I'm looking at Croatia and Netherlands and that they'll try and they want to show that, you know what, we have arrived and try to prove a point.
Yep.
And in them proving a point might just take them to the finals.
Exactly, especially since because this World Cup has been a World Cup of upsets and a World Cup of surprises. You had Saudis beating Argentina, and that you also had Japan beating Spain and Germany in the group stage.
So that means
it's a World Cup of surprise. So it's perfectly set up for an upset.
Yeah.
And if you can ride on that momentum and you can ride on the momentum in the game, trust me, we can have some very, very interesting results after tonight.
All right, and you know that your super station Joy 99.7 FM will be bringing you all the commentary, so you don't want to miss those games.
Oh yeah. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
It's gonna be amazing, man.
But we'll be on Joy Prime. Joy Prime. Build up. If the game starts at 3 o'clock, build up is going to be from 2 p.m. and we are going to have the game on Joy Prime from 2 p.m. right out till the last game ends around 9 to 10. We have Inside Qatar and all of that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big Friday and Saturday of football.
It's going to be a very, very big Friday. Thank you so much for joining us here on Joy News Desk. That's how we end the show. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapitso Sebidi. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.